Okay? If I was doing multiple channel protocol, 2 or 4, one thing you have to keep in mind is each of these panels is different. Okay, see that? As I go to channel 1, I have my goes and stops selected. When I go to channel 2, everything's on ignore, because this is only, of course, a 1-channel protocol. But the one mistake a lot of clinicians make is they select 4 channels up at the beginning in data channels. We know we're going to do a 4-channel protocol. They forget to adjust their protocol per the other channels. Because with 4 channels, if we were doing traditional neural feedback, you could basically have 4 different protocols. A different protocol on each channel. But you won't if you don't go through each of these panels and set them. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing I've seen people do is click by accident one of these channels, make an adjustment, and only have the adjustment on channel 3 only. And then channel 1's not what they wanted. So you have to be aware of what you're doing. Now let's jump down here. Here's again a couple more what I call fine-tuning adjustments. Most people won't ever touch these. They're here for you. We used to not give you access to them, but now we've given you access because some different philosophies have wanted different ways of doing this. So global sustained reward criterion simply means I meet criteria, I stay there. How long till I get another point if I'm still meeting criteria? Okay? We have it defaulted to 500 milliseconds / half second. Half of a second. Okay? Does that make sense? So I meet criteria, I continue meeting it for half a second, I get my second tone. Okay? Nope. You know what? Scratch all that. I just screwed that up. Okay. Global, that was the next one. Global sustained reward criterion means I met criteria, I've held it for half a second, now I get my tone. Sorry about that. Okay. I just confuse everybody?
That's for the first tone.
The first option for 500 milliseconds for reward sounds only, by the way. I meet all criteria, I can hold that condition for half a second, I get a tone. Okay? The next one down is I've gotten my tone, I continue to hold the condition, how long till I get my second one? Right now it's on 0, so I'm going to get ding, 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 ding if I hold the condition. Barry Sturman likes this to be 2,000 milliseconds. I get a tone. If I hold the condition, I still want the brain to rest. I'm not going to give you another tone for 2 seconds. Okay? Different philosophies. But we needed to give you the capability of doing whatever path you were taking. Questions?
So if it's on 0, are we going to get a string of discrete tones or a continuous tone?
Still discrete tones. Ding, ding, ding. It's gonna. What happens is when you meet all criteria, it plays what's called a dot wave file. So if that dot wave file happens to be a hammer or a ding, it's going to play the file, and then it's going to play the file again. It's going to play the file again. It's not just going to go ding. It's going to continue to boom, 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 boom. Okay. Everybody like those sound effects? Good.
Cool.
All right. Any questions? Okay. Another.
What would you do?
Use MIDI tones and use sustained. Okay. But we'll get to that more from the sound feedback screen. Okay. The next option down is unique. This is. Let's hit the about. Okay. This is the original sweet spot settings. It compares with the original DOS neural cybernetic system. Okay? What had happened is Shireen McGee and Lisa Black were used to using a DOS neural cybernetic system and loved it. Getting great results for years. Their system started failing. Neural cybernetics had come out with Eager. They were no longer supporting the original DOS. Eager didn't have the same look or feel as their original. Okay? They brought their equipment, brought both their computers, had to hook all that up in the lab. We hooked up this unit, or the Atlantis, in the lab with the software, and continued to play with some fine-tuning parameters until we got the dings basically to come at the identical time. Ding, both machines, ding, and the response on the screen, identical, okay? It was all the fine-tuning parameters. What filter order were we using? What was the refractory period? What was the sustained reward price? Did all those, and then she's like, that's it, okay? So she kind of said, finally found a system that she could continue the work they were doing, since they were down to one DOS system that was still working and were in fear of losing everything they had worked with. Okay? Now, for the majority of people that haven't used one of those systems before, it probably means nothing to you. If you have one, you go, wow, I never knew that was, I did really like that system. You could simply come here, turn it on, and all those settings would change, and you'd have the look and feel of, or the look on the displays, the smoothness of the displays, and the way the sound interaction and everything happens would be similar to the original Neurocybernetics DOS system. Okay?
I just think it was real confusing they used the sweet spot. They should just said original Neurocybernetics feedback settings.
You can't.
Sweet spot is a technique that's generalized. Anybody, you can use it on the Brain Master.
Right, well, that's why they called it the original sweet spot, because she came up with it.
That's pretty true.
But yeah, I feel you. Don?
I've got a quick question for you. I use real-time Z-scores and movies, so we use multimedia. There's no way, I haven't found at least how to get any kind of count of rewards within that. I guess it's... there is-
You meaning points?
Yeah, there is there a way of
Yeah.
setting that up?
Yeah, in the Event Wizard now,
You should repeat your question, Bill.
if you're using Z-scores and you're using DVDs or multimedia player, but really for any game, basically, can you turn the counter on and be able to measure points? Is that, am I understanding?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. There is a term now in the Event Wizard that you can set up, for instance, event whatever, 6 or 7, whatever event, to any time the criteria is met, to issue a point.
If you're using percent.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So that's now available. It's a newer feature, probably might have been the first round of 3.4.
It's just for reference.
Right. Oh yeah, see how many points they got this session versus next session? Sure. But yes, that capability is now there.
So that it would in essence give you a measure of reward criteria independent of the red line.
Sure. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Now, on the sweet spot, is there any utility in using this if you have not had the prior Neurocybernetics original system?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I guess
Can't see how.
I mean, if you would talk to them, they would say try it. It's a very smooth. It's very pleasing. It's like aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
But the one little niche of a drawback is it wasn't real time. So there were some of these delays in that system that were pleasant delays. She likes them the way it, like example, I can't remember the name of the game, but they have a game that they have this kind of display that goes like this and continues to move. Okay? Well, when you do that in real time, it's kind of like very jerky. Okay?
Highways.
Highways, that's it. Okay? In the Neurocybernetics, it was nice and smooth, and clients liked it. Well, to get to that point with our box flow, we needed to adjust some of this damping to get it to respond the same. But it was no longer 60 milliseconds damping. It was more like 750 milliseconds damping to display like that. But again, if that's what you'd worked with for 15 years, and you were used to that look and feel, and your clients were used to that look and feel, they tried changing the eager, and their results weren't the same. So they wanted something what they knew was working.